Good morning, good happy Saturday morning, and welcome to Bettina's Buzz here on SantaCruzVoice.com. And we are celebrating graduations on Bettina's Buzz this Saturday morning because the whole peninsula, of course, is abuzz with graduations and graduates. And with me this morning to celebrate this magical time of year is a good friend and co-mentor of SantaCruzVoice.com, Michael Olsen. Good morning, Michael.
Well, good morning. It is a beautiful morning here on the Central Coast because summer kickoff, right? Memorial Day weekend, graduation, Father's Day, all of those things. It's time to kick off summer.
And Devil Wears Prada 2 is out, so that's another reason to kick out summer, yes. So as we reflect about graduation time, Michael, I myself always loved graduation because I had the glorious time of graduating, not only from elementary school, from grade school, but I graduated from San Jose State University in 1981, and that day will always go down as one of the most magical days of my life. What about you, Michael? What's your favorite graduation time?
Oh, goodness. Well, life is a succession of good graduations, right?
That's true, yes.
Go from one place to the next, and you graduate into the new one and shed the old one like a snake shedding its skin, and you become a new person, and it's always an exciting time. And it's always exciting to see those we love go through graduation as well. So I've had a number of them in my life. But you know what is kind of funny? When I graduated from the University of California, Santa Cruz, I did not go through the graduation ceremony.
Why didn't you? You were busy, obviously, doing something else.
I guess I was just busy doing something else. And when it gets right down to it, as a junior college transfer into the university, I really didn't know all that many people. And as my course of study was English and Chinese literature, I kind of lived in a bubble because it was a self-directed major, and I had to build it myself. And so I didn't, really interact with a lot of students at UCSC. So when it came time to graduate, I thought, well, what the hell? I don't want to stand in line for hours and hours and hours. I'll just go on with my life, and that's what I did.
Do you ever regret not going through the pomp and circumstance? I mean, it's something graduates deserve.
They deserve it, yeah.
You deserve it, but there's many. I know, Michael, for example, when Suriname graduated from Seaside High, she had teammates from the track meet, from her track time.
She had buddies.
That didn't go through graduation because they made it to CCS and the California State trials for track. So, and those things tend to fall at the same date. So, and just to talk about the regrets, an athlete friend went on to CCS and didn't do as well as they hoped. So then they wished they had gone to graduation.
Well, I regret not having the experience of going through graduation from UCSC because I truly was proud of my degree, and but I just didn't care to go through the rigmarole at the time. I was busy trying to figure out how to survive. Now that I had a degree, what am I going to do next?
Right. And as my grandfather called graduation, he called it quituating. So it's kind of quituating, that you quituate. But graduation is a magical time. And Michael, though I know graduation means to move on and endeavor, just as you mentioned, there's a point in our lives, be it high school or college, if we choose to take those steps, okay, because many of us don't choose to continue the steps after high school to then go on to a university. But their graduation as completing one course of interest to another is still very much alive without the pomp and circumstance.
Amen. You know what also I think one of the things about graduating is that you go through a hazing process, moving on to the next place. The initiation into a new world. So that's always part of making the transition from one place to the next. Now, I don't think people do hazing or initiations to the extent that they once did.
I don't know about hazing, about graduation, though. I know that people who were of my class when we started and didn't make it, like, I'm laughing, because I knew a couple people in particular that just took one semester, didn't take enough units. They should have taken 15 instead of 13. So they ended up not graduating with the class, meaning they just didn't keep track of their units. And so I think in that way they were hazed to see all their classmates.
That's a big part of it, is that in graduating, you demonstrated to the world, and even more importantly to yourself, that you had the wherewithal to do everything it took to get through and pass and move on. And I had a good friend at the University of California, Santa Cruz, who went through everything, but he didn't finish his final paper, which was the final project. And he had everything together, he just didn't do it. And so he didn't graduate.
He didn't do it because he didn't think he had to at that point, or
no,
he forgot?
I guess, writer's block or something like that. He just didn't do it. And so for all of the years since then, he has to live with the fact that he could have, but he didn't. And so that's a tough one. So it's easy to lose track and say, well, doggone it, I just didn't do it. But, to live with the fact that you never did do it and that you could have done it, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I agree. It's tougher to, I would think. It would have been tougher because I'm sure, like many people, San Jose State University, as in going to a university, it's quite a transition from high school. And for example, me, I worked hard in high school, at Seaside High School, my alumni high school. I was a good student, and then when I went into my freshman year at San Jose State, I just kind of felt the undergrad courses I could kind of breeze through, that they would be a breeze, and they weren't, and it is a transition. And then the professors, probably the same like you in your underclass courses, when there's millions of you in a classroom, you don't get that one-on-one instructor feedback that you do as we advance into our junior and senior classes. So it was hard for me my freshman year, not getting A's and B's as easily as I thought.
Well, that's for sure. They never come easy when it gets right down to it. But now I'm teaching at Cabrillo College.
What are you teaching, Michael?
I'm teaching a class in podcasting and streaming.
Well, gosh. Now, that's a class I want to take. When is it? When is your class?
Well, it's going to be in October and to the first week or so of November. And it's going to be Wednesday night. And this will be my, Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30. Mm-hmm. But this will be my third time I've done it. My second time, which just completed, was a lot of fun because we went through the whole scheme of being a podcaster, what it means and how to do it, from the hardware and the software to the planning and the execution. But I had a final assignment for everybody to come into class and host a podcast. Mm-hmm. And it was so much fun to see how they had prepared for that. And like we were talking earlier, there were a couple of members of the class that did not prepare and then did not show up for that last class. But the ones that did were so spectacular. It was just cool. I'll tell you about one of them. A gal, an immigrant from Poland, who kind of sat at the back of the class, was very shy, didn't say much through the entire lessons. But when it came time to do her final podcast, what she did was simply spectacular. First of all, she blossomed as a personality and became very upfront and very effusive. Even though she had a heavy Polish accent, she was unafraid and was beautiful. So the second thing that was very interesting is that her podcast consisted of talking to Madame Curie. Now, do you remember Madame Curie? She was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize for physics. And
I didn't know she was the first woman who won the Nobel Prize for physics, but that name is very familiar to me, yes.
Yes. And so, of course, she's since passed. So how on earth did she do the interview with somebody who has since passed? Well, what she did is she called up her artificial intelligence agent and had her become Madame Curie.
Ah.
Now, I want you to be Madame Curie, and I want you to describe what life was like growing up in Poland before it was Poland, back when it was Russia, and what it was like. And so the artificial intelligence voice became Madame Curie.
Interesting.
And the student led her through the life of Madame Curie and discovering these rare elements that are part of our physical universe, and how she named one of the elements polonium, after Poland. And so when now you go to the periodic table of elements, you'll see polonium there, and it was named after Poland. So she was telling these stories, the artificial intelligence agent, at the direction of the student. And it was
that's very ingenious.
Really cool. It was really
wow, what an excellent way to use AI.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And pointing to the future of what we can all do with AI when it gets right down to it. So there she was interviewing somebody who's long since passed, tells stories about her friendship with Albert Einstein and all of these great events in history. So let me ask you this. If you were to use AI to go back and interview somebody, who would you interview?
Prince.
Prince?
Yes, the artist formerly known as.
Oh.
Yes. That's who. The first chance, if I could utilize it, I would interview him. Because just the surface of books I've gotten about him, some I've barely touched to read them. I just touch them to have them because I want to own them. But his talent is so deep and extends into all our lives to this day. I would be so interesting to see what he would be willing to share. I think we could all benefit from it.
Which question would you ask him that would open up the conversation?
Oh, gosh. What should I call you?
That's exactly right. How did you come to be known as the artist that was formerly known as Prince?
Right. What happened?
Yeah.
What made him go through those steps? So another way about graduation, Michael, that I like to share is as I stare at my, I mentioned to you I'm taking Taekwondo. Taekwondo, Korean, it's a Korean martial arts, self-defense. And so I've now in orange belt. I recently had a test and have graduated to orange belt. And then just starting in June for a week, they call it camp, every day for a week in the early part of June. And then I'll have a belt test and I'll be purple. I'm graduating right up the belts to black belt.
Good for you.
Yeah.
What do you like about Taekwondo? What does it bring into your life?
It brings confidence. It brings confidence, and I get to spend a lot of time with people who are students who are my age, not quite my age. I'm the oldest one at 66, almost 67. But there are students very close to my age, men and women, as well as very small 7- and 8-year-old on up. And you learn from everybody, in the Monterey Bay Taekwondo Academy is really a family unit. And I've had the instructor, Master Jae Song Lee. He's been a guest on Bettina's Buzz. So I like the family element about it. But yes, I took it for what it is. It's a martial arts for self-protecting yourself and anybody else who needs it. So, it's a crazy world, and sometimes you have to really be prepared for what could come your way. At least, hopefully, to deter people, not to start a fight. But, yeah.
Well, how to protect yourself, right?
Yeah. Yes, protecting oneself and anyone else who might need it, especially, in my eyes, a fellow female or a child. That's, we need protecting.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
When I was at UC Santa Cruz, I started taking Aikido, which is a Japanese form of martial arts. And the most valuable lesson I took home was how to engage in confrontational dialogue without getting angry.
Oh, that's something I should.
So in Aikido, you always meet force with acceptance. So instead of two forces meeting in a clash of physical force, the idea in Aikido was you would accept the force, and in the acceptance of the force, gain control of it, so that you could then turn it back into itself. And that's the essence of Aikido. So, in learning this whole thing, I guess it came to me that it's the perfect way to engage in debate. So you and your opponent each take a stand on something very important. And when your opponent throws an accusation at you, instead of meeting it with a, "You idiot, you don't know what the hell you're talking about," you say, "Oh, let me see if I understand you." And you restate his objection, and in restating it, then you have your opponent listening to you and repeating what his argument is, and in that, you gain control of the conversation, and then you can turn it back into your opponent. And so the acceptance of something, of force, as in Aikido practice teaches, gives you the ability to gain control without using force, meeting force with force. So in accepting something, you gain control of it and then can turn it back. And that's the essence of Aikido martial arts. So use the opponent's energy or force and turn it right back into your opponent. So
or if they, or too much physical force, you just put that as a boomerang effect right back at them.
Right. And I suspect there's some of that in Taekwondo as well. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess probably as I get higher up, I'll learn that you're supposed to turn it around. But at this point, it's all, it's, the moves are all self discipline. I
Hmm.
mean, you start stepping back before you step forward. I mean, you'll step back if the person fighting you still wants to step back as you're depending and step into you, well then after a little while, yeah, well, okay, then we're going to step forward then because you're still being aggressive, though I'm showing you and like, defending myself by stepping back, pushing off your hitting and your kicks. But if you still want to do that, well, then after a while, yeah, well, then it's as we like to say, it's on now.
So now you graduated into an orange belt.
I'm an orange belt right now.
Did they have a
And
ceremony for that? A graduation
oh
ceremony?
yes, you stand in front of the class and just and they give you the certificate that now when you got your orange belt, and then you stand in front of the class and you snap your orange belt really firmly and go kia, and then you turn to the black belt and you get it put on you for the first time, and they read your graduation certificate for that belt. Yes, you
Good.
do. It's
Good.
wonderful.
And a good feeling
So,
that you've moved on.
right, because it's a lot of good work, positive work. The classes are structured to be fun, but yet serious. And the black belts of all ages, when they break into time after you do the basics of running, stretching, some basic exercises before you really start your pomses or your defense moves. But the whole environment is meant to teach you. And to teach slowly and accurately, of course. But I learned so much from the little children, the 6, 7-year-olds, working to get the moves, and who was ever instructing them, whatever black belt, is so patient, wonderfully patient, which Master Lee does train his black belts to teach. So it's just a wonderful environment.
Good.
Yeah, I really recommend, now that I'm in taking Taekwondo, and I wanted to ever since I was young. As I mentioned, I lived in Korea as a military brat, but I think any terms of kind of martial arts, I know there's many out there. I think they're good for people, and I will be honest, especially women and children, to just have that sense of confidence, because we're preyed on the most, I feel. I feel that women and children are preyed on and victimized the most. So it's just a way to empower ourselves.
And be strong.
Yes.
And not
Yeah.
be a victim.
No victims.
Mm-hmm.
So are you going to be attending any graduation ceremonies, Michael?
Not that I know of.
You don't? Oh.
Most of my relatives are elsewhere. So,
Well, what about some of the young, since you're teaching at the university there, you must know some young people who are graduating. You wouldn't, that's what I mean.
well, I tend to avoid their graduation ceremonies too. Whenever
Oh,
I'm working with an intern or something that are graduating, I just say, congratulations, I'm very proud of you, but I'm not going to your graduation ceremony.
oh, you let them know you're.
Well, it's I think it's something for families and close friends to attend to, but um, and I just have been through a few of them, and I don't want to sit if I have to
I
sit in the
see.
sunshine and cook while somebody says something up there, and you have some famous person come in, give a speech and whatnot. Um, I'm just not.
Yeah, graduation ceremony. Well, Cerna, as you know, Cerna, and it's different from what you're explaining, but Cerna has gone to some of her track athletes' graduations. They've
Ah,
requested that she be there. And
well,
so,
she's a coach, right?
yeah, yes, and they've wanted her to come to the graduation. And she likes to see her athletes when they graduate, you know, from, when they graduated from Seaside High, etc. And Michael, Cerna's graduating next month herself from Central Coast College.
Wow. Now are you going to go to the graduation?
Well, of course. Wild horses.
Because she's your daughter, right? There you go. And,
yes.
So she's graduating, has a great skill, and go out in the world.
She's a sterile processing technician. She makes the instruments for the surgeons, whatever surgery they have on docket. She's one of the many that will be there making sure that the surgeon has the proper instruments cleaned to perfection and they're ready for them to use, packaged perfectly. So, it's a very important job, and I'm extremely proud of her, as you know, about everything she does.
Yeah. Just like a mama.
And what about Miss Marlene? What's she up to this season?
Right now she's supervising some domestic rehabilitation of our home. So, and this is something Marlene loves to do. She loves to build things and design things. So she's in her element right now. And she also spending time tending to her 99-year-old father.
That's amazing. 99. That's such a blessing.
Yeah.
Even though you said he still looks out at that golf course that you made a hole in one.
Yeah. To remember that story, right? That's a good story. Yeah.
Do remember that story.
Well, hey, do you think we should take a commercial break?
Let's do that, Michael.
Okay, I'll fire one off here. And here we go.
It's time now to repair or replace your roof. Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. Well, we install leak-proof and fire-proof roofs. Roofs that look nice with a lot of choices of colors and styles. Gutters, skylights, insulation, and roof decks. We only install proven products with warranties unmatched by anybody. Financing is always available, and we have discounts for veterans and seniors. Do business with Knox Roofing, and you'll also receive a free Knox Garden Box. The number to call again is 831-461-0634. Thanks, folks.
Attention investors. This is a simple commercial on the investment value of gold. Gold continues to make new highs. In good markets and in bad markets, you need to have your portfolio balanced with gold. Learn about owning physical gold or getting a gold-backed IRA. Make this simple call right now.
800-414-1657. 800-414-1657. That's 800-414-1657.
Sponsored by Reagan Gold.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top-quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
Listen and be heard. You can support one of America's first local news and talk streaming radio stations. SantaCruzVoice.com. Your support will help build the Voice's streaming infrastructure and maintain the programming of its 34 local broadcasters. Your support will help build a radio station that represents Santa Cruz County and that you will be truly proud of. Please go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click support. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Bettina's Buzz here on SantaCruzVoice.com. Yes, we love support, all kinds of support, and my favorite support is, Michael, when we find different guests to come in and share their stories with us. That's always such a pleasure.
Well, and that's one of the things I teach in the podcasting class. Is the importance of the producer of the show, because that's what the producer does, is find good stories to tell and good people to tell the stories. And so that's a big part of being a good talk host is doing the production work too.
And liking people, I think, is a good, because I like people if
Yes.
they're interesting. Well, I mean, all of us are interesting. So what I mean in finding guests, it's up to us to, at least I feel, at least like the person that you want to interview, or that you know something about them that you like. Because it would be hard for me, for example, this is why I'm going to take your class. Sounds so interesting, because I learn so much from you all the time, Michael. As many people we've brought up before, we've known each other for many years back in the KMBY, KNZS News Talk portion when we collaborated. But I've learned a lot from you and radio people to help me, yes, graduate. I'm going to graduate to higher levels of being a good talk show host, and you used the word producer. So thank you. I never thought as the talk show host, or when we look for voices to join our voice, that we're in work of production.
To me, the producer does all the work, and the host has all the fun. So if you're producing your own show, then your job is to set up a show so that you can have all the fun interviewing people.
Yes.
And if you're a good producer, then it's very easy to be a good host, because everything is there on the table for you, and all you have to do is enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So in producing, where do you start? Well, I always start with looking for a conflict that I can use to capture and hold attention. For example, I just recorded a food chain radio show about protein powders, the perils of protein powders. Now, how did I come upon this show, this idea to do a show like that? Well, I was at the Natural Products Exposition in Anaheim a month or so ago, and there were 4,000 businesses displaying their natural products, most of which were food. And it seemed like everybody that was displaying something was a natural food. The natural foods were infused with protein powders to give them more protein, because everybody likes to have more protein these days. Why is that? I don't know. That's a good question. So the question in my mind, seeing all of these protein powders, is, does protein powder do a body good? Is it good for us to be consuming all of these protein powders? So I called on my friend Sally Fallon Morrell to join me in a conversation about this. Sally is the president and founder of the Weston A. Price Foundation and the author and editor of Nourishing Traditions, which examines these kinds of issues. And she suggested that it's very dangerous for us to eat protein powders, because the protein powders deplete our vitamin A in our bodies. And vitamin A is responsible for all of the bodily functions, from the development of hormones all the way down through. So traditionally, in history, we would eat foods from animals that contained a lot of fats. And lo and behold, fats are how we process vitamin A into our body. So they would eat meat, but they would eat meat that had animal fats. And said the worst kind of meat to eat is rabbits, because rabbits have very little fat. And in history, people that ate just rabbits would come down with a disease from nutrient deficiencies. They eat a lot of rabbits, which is lean protein, which is similar to eating protein powders without the vitamin A, without the fats. So if you eat those protein powders, you have to compensate by adding fats into your diet as well. And how do you do that? By eating toast with real butter, right? Because that real butter, especially from grass-fed cows, that's where the vitamins are at. So fats are good to eat with protein powders. But without the fats, the protein is bad. But
everything, we never know what to eat, Michael, in our whole lives. Did you ever see the Woody Allen movie Sleepers? Or Sleepers?
I don't think I did.
He fell asleep, and at the time, I don't remember which way it was, but say the vegetarian diet was the hip diet. Nobody wanted to eat meat. And then he woke up and no one meat. You get your protein from meat sources, forget vegetables. It's like whatever time period the pendulum is swinging.
What's
Sally, good, what's not.
Yeah, what was good is not good, and what is good today is not going to be good tomorrow. And it's all determined by the diet trend-setting dictocrats, she calls them. They dictate what we should eat, and it's never really what the natural man or natural woman ate to stay healthy. Because it's really all designed to make money.
Well, like vitamin A, the only thing I know about vitamin A, Michael, is when I was pregnant, we were told to avoid vitamin A, as in eating no liver, certain things that were high in vitamin A, and I was glad because I didn't eat liver anyway, but it made sense to me. But just even in that, too much vitamin A obviously isn't good for a growing fetus inside you, as women.
Well, that's what Sally Fallon Morell disputes. And she said that it is something that we need to process all of the rest of the things that are going on in our body.
But in moderation, especially when you're pregnant. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Don't go out and eat some liver. But vitamin A is in, I don't know, but you probably know right now on the tip of my tongue what vitamin A is in. Natural things that we eat or drink.
Butter, liver, cod liver oil. Those are concentrated sources of
remember the days
animal fats.
We weren't supposed to eat butter. Remember margarine?
Yes. Well, and that's what the Weston A. Price Foundation goes way back in times before there were any dietary trends. And how did really healthy people who lived a long, long time, what did they eat? And how did they manage to so Weston A. Price was a dentist. And what he did is he went back and found traditional peoples living close to the land who lived a long, long time. How do you live so long? Why are you so healthy? And what he discovered was that they were consuming a lot of animal fats with their protein. Mm-hmm. And drinking glaciated water, which had a lot of minerals in it. And what he discovered was that all of these people had very healthy cheekbones and healthy teeth in spite of being old. And then, so he categorized their diets, and then he came back 2 decades later, after modern foods had invaded their terrain, and saw that the people were losing their skeletal features, the bones in their cheeks started getting narrower and narrower. The teeth were falling out, all as a consequence of modern, highly processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
And so he postulated that as we go farther and farther away from that traditional nourishment, nourishing traditions, they call it, the worse off we become. And I think the epitome of that was the National Heart Association's assertion that we should not eat animal fats, that we should not eat butter, that we should eat margarine made out of
plastic.
Yeah. But so that what I'm trying to say is that you find as a producer of a show, you find a good conflict, and then find a good person to discuss that conflict, and then as host, all you have to do is sit back and enjoy the conversation, because you have something captivating to talk to your audience about, and somebody to have that conversation as well. So we spent a significant amount of time developing how to do a podcast so that you as the host are the star of the show and can enjoy being the star.
Share with us again, Michael, when your class is or when it will be starting again.
Well, yeah, it's Cabrillo College Extension, mm-hmm. and they have a web page, and it's podcasting and streaming. Just look up podcasting and streaming. You'll see the class there, and we're going to be starting at the last Wednesday in September and going through probably the first Wednesday in November. So it's essentially an October class.
Yay.
And we have a lot of fun.
Well, it sounds like something I'm going to do my best to come to. Wednesday evenings, I should be able to do that.
Wednesday evening, 6:30 to 8:30, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And what's fun is, as you are experiencing in your Taekwondo class, you're with a group of people we're all learning together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what makes it fun, too.
And I've always found, I took graduate courses at the Academy of Art in San Francisco in terms of film editing when I was a student there. But yes, collaboration with, especially for me at 66, I really mean this sincerely, collaborating with younger people. I like people my own age, of course, but collaborating and really working with younger people and sharing ideas and learning from them is just something I really enjoy. It helps keep me relevant.
That's kind of the traditional family, right?
Yes.
Where you have a range of ages, and those who are older have a responsibility of teaching those who are younger. And as we all know, young people will rebel against their parents, and that's true of every culture. So to have somebody else who's not your parent teaching you is really important.
Well, even saying that, what do you think? What's your opinion on homeschooling, just in general? I mean, I know you wouldn't have to worry about it, neither do I, but I mean, at this stage in our lives. But when Serna was little, she's 27 now, but that's when I first ever heard about homeschooling. Of course, once I had a child, I never thought for me, being a teacher the way a grade school teacher is for my daughter, I didn't think that would be a good idea. How do you feel about that, homeschooling?
Well, I once had the opportunity to judge a debate amongst homeschooled children. Mm-hmm. And these were high school kids. And I was absolutely blown away by how smart and how well developed their mental acuity was. I was just really impressed. That said, I don't know how my parents could have possibly homeschooled me, because I just could not sit still when I was young. I don't even know how they managed to get me through grade school, because I could never sit still. I'm probably still like that. So, however, they have schooling now, so there's kind of a science to it. And it's not like you're always teaching your kids alone. Often you're working with other parents and teaching them in classes and whatnot. So they kind of go in and out of these things. I like I said, I had the opportunity to judge a debate amongst homeschoolers, and whatever they're doing a good job. And I guess that might be the key to what I think about homeschooling. If you do a great job, then you're a great parent. If you do a bad job, then you're a bad parent. And it's as simple as that. So you have to, if you're going to be a homeschooled parent, you have to put in the work.
Yeah, and that seems like a lot of work. That seems like, because parents, my mothers were the first teachers our children have, or as a single mother. Yes, so I figured she was learning things from me every day, and that some things would be better explained to her than I could probably explain it, because, like, for example, of course, her grade school teachers, they're trained to educate little minds at that level, and I'm only educated enough to be the mother that, as they say, parents, we don't have to go and get a diploma in rearing a child.
If you think about the importance of the mother teaching the child what the child should or should not eat, that's really where the education starts, is what you should and should not eat.
Well, that's a good example. Let me talk about that with Cerna, because when she was little, like many children, she was just a picky eater, okay? She just liked what she liked, okay? So I just fed her what she liked, which was some form of potatoes and some yogurt, snacks, and stuff like that. Okay, so one time we were down at Carmel Valley visiting some artist friends. I know it. It was a beautiful day, and again, this is, 20 plus years ago, or maybe 20 years ago. She's 27, so we'll say she was 7 then. But no, she had. But anyway, we went to a Thai restaurant, and they gave you the chicken on the skewers, this, boneless chicken. So I was like, chicken lollipops. So then she was like, chicken lollipops, let me try. And she took a bite of that chicken lollipop. She liked meat ever since then. It's kind of like, you didn't tell me about chicken lollipops. And she was a meat eater after that.
There you go. Good.
But I was never, I'm pretty much a vegetarian, but I've started to increase the amount of animal protein, because there's different proteins, of course. But animal protein, at least some, because it's been brought to my attention that I've done a great job at 66, but if I want to keep up with the times in my taekwondo, I got to throw more protein in there, as in some animal protein. And the reason I say it like that, Michael, is I like to eat what I like, but I don't have time to balance. Like one of my good friends, an artist, who, even about the chicken lollipops, okay, she would tell me you have to eat well and balance your beans and the legumes if you want to totally not eat meat to get animal protein, and that I wasn't doing it right just by not eating meat and eating beans. It's a lot of work.
Well, it is work. And in general, nobody has time to do the work.
Right.
So that's how we end up eating ultra-processed foods that have those things infused in them that satisfy our appetite, namely salt and sugar and simple carbohydrates and whatnot. So it's tough work. And I was thinking about the chicken skewers. This is something Sally Fallon brought up. Chicken without the skin is meat without the fats. And you got to have a way of getting fats into your diet, good fats, because that's what your brain is cholesterol. That's what makes your brain work, and your skin and everything else. So the body has a requirement for fats, and skinless, boneless chicken is the meat without the fats. And it's like eating rabbits that have no fats. You can leave yourself vulnerable to nutrient deficiencies by eating meat without the fats. At least that is the nourishing tradition of the Weston A. Price Foundation. And you know what? That leaves us with 2 minutes left in this show.
Really, already?
Already, just like that, Zoom.
Well, I would like to say congratulations to all the graduates of 2026. It's a milestone, whether it's from preschool, you're graduating into grade school, or it's a step that's huge, and all parents, your friends, anybody who loves you, and whether you walk the walk or not, congratulations, because that's your choice whether you want to walk the walk, but you still got that diploma, because it means a lot. I was raised, to some people it's not a lot to go on and further their education, but for those of us who do, getting that walk that's how you get practice for the catwalk, I'll tell you. Keeping it together and walking up there and getting your diploma and everybody cheering for you, that is just amazing.
Like shedding a skin.
Shedding a skin, getting rid of the old and bringing out the new. Yeah. Michael Olsen, thank you again for always being a guest on Bettina's Buzz.
Always enjoy being with you.
And I look forward to taking your class.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. So go out, everyone. Have a great Saturday. And remember, be kind to strangers, because they're just you. They're just a form of you. We're all in this together, so at least give a smile. And if you got some pennies, give a few pennies. They're going to pay off one day.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Michael. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.